Today I'm going to show you how you can use Velo to display a given location using the Google Map element. What's up, you guys? Thanks for tuning in with your boy Nino from Creatively Nino. I got a tutorial for you guys today on how you can use Velo to display a given location on your Google Map element. And if you're struggling with how to do this, this is the tutorial for you. It's pretty cool. It's a little challenging, but overall I think you're really gonna like it. And if you do like it, hey, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss another Wix tutorial like this one. So let's jump in and check this thing out. All right, so let's save time and look good online with this Google Map element. All right, so how you get to the Google Map element? First off, I'm in the dev mode. I just wanted to say that. So if you come over to dev mode and you click turn on dev mode, then how I have this whole thing set up, I have a strip here, I have text here, text, and then I have this grouping of these two boxes. All right, so I got a container box here and a container box here. And what I'm doing is I'm setting up a input item here so that we can type in some continents. Okay, so I'm going to be displaying here continents. All right, and this is going to be a repeater. I just added this here, this box with the repeater in it, just so that you guys can see how you can transfer some of your data that you might have on your page code or inside of your database. Okay, so that is that. And then also I'm going to have a little game here for you guys. So if you guys want to create a random generator, you can actually do that with this Google Map element. All right, so with Google Map elements, I actually went over this in another tutorial at a beginner's level where I just went through this whole entire thing of Google Maps and showed you guys what you can do and the possibilities and also the cons versus using this map here, okay, rather than some other map that you have an API call to. All right, so basically what is happening here, guys, is that this is getting one location. And right now what Wix has to offer is only one location. So you can only set up one location for your Google Map element using Velo. All right, so before I get into the code, I just want to show you guys where I found this Google element. Okay, now this might change in the future, so just be cognizant of the timing of this video. But right now what I'm going to show you is that you go to add here and then you come all the way down to contacts and forms. Okay, so when you click contacts and forms, you'll see Google Maps right here. So this will be the maps right here that I'm using right here, and then the full width maps, which I go into a little bit more detail in my tutorial. So I'm gonna put that in the right hand corner as I speak right now so that you guys can just check that thing out if you want any more background about that tutorial on Google Maps, the beginner's level. So what we can do here is drag these things out here onto our page and we will have it in here. So as you can see, I have two Google Maps here. All right, but we don't have to actually focus on those two right now. All we need to do is focus on what the ID of these maps are, these map elements. All right, so here what I want to do is I want to start off first with showing you the format that you would have to put it in for your mapping. All right, so what I have here is an array of JSON items here, objects. All right, and so with these JSONs here, I have the different continents. All right, so I put this into a array of JSON objects that display Africa, Asia, North America, all the continents. So that is that. Okay, so I just went in here and found different continents based on some areas on that continent. So these are not going to be the exact coordinates for Africa or Asia or North America. I just went ahead and just pulled a latitude and longitude for an area on that continent, just so that you guys are aware of that. All right, so basically this is my array here and all of the set of things that I need for my repeater. Okay, this is only for my repeater. Okay, but this is going to be similar setup for my Google map. All right. And remember, you can only map one item. So when setting the property to a map location, the object moves the map's marked location. So as you can see here, I have the latitude and longitude. We cannot actually set this by a physical address. You got to convert that physical address into latitude and longitude. Or what you can do is use Google API and bring in an HTML interface so that you can show different locations based off of their address. But right now, if you have the latitude and longitude, that is all you need to display one location. All right, so what I have here is a button, okay, and I have an input here. So this whole entire array here is what I'm going to do for my input. I'm going to search through that array based on the content that I give in here. So as you can see here, I am doing an onPut function here or method. So I'm doing this method because I want to exactly get the key press item and fire that event inside of our input. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to do a set timeout for 100 milliseconds. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is create an array. And for this array, what we're going to do here is we're going to assign this to the continent's approximate latitude and longitude object. Okay, and once we assign that to search, so this is a copy of the continent's approximate array. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to get this value. All right, so this value that's inside of this input, we're going to go ahead and make that a string and put it to a uppercase. All right, so this string literal here is what's going to be taking this event.target.value. Okay, remember what I said in previous tutorials, event.target is that element that is this right here, what you would normally call. All right, so it's just going into the target, which is this, and it's going to dot value. So you would normally see it as input1.value, but now we're just going to have event.target.value here. All right, so once we get that string that was put inside of the continent or this input1, then we're going to go ahead and make it an uppercase. The reason for that is so that then we don't have it to be case sensitive. All right, if you want it to be case sensitive, then I would advise you guys to take both of these two uppercases methods off of each one of these here. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to check and see if that value is greater than 0. Okay, we're going to check that length. If that length is not greater than 0, we're going to empty the array. If it doesn't equal to 0 or below, what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, we're going to search that array and filter it based on the values that we get from the input. All right, so basically what this is doing is we're going through all of these here. Remember, we made a copy. All right, and we're going to look at the description. All right, because this actually gives the full description of the continent's name. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do return f.description .to uppercase .includes. So this .includes right here is actually grabbing anything that includes a value, okay, that is equal to this continent's name in an uppercase character. That is where we're going to put val. All right, that is going to be where our value is stored right here. All right, so once we search that whole entire array, then we're going to check to see if that array has something in it. If it doesn't have anything in it, it would default to hiding the box. But if it is something in there, but yet the search.length is going to be 0, then it's going to hide it and then also reset the repeater. Okay, but if the length is greater than 0, then what we're going to do is put that array element into our repeater, and we're just going to slice it into 3 available search suggestions. And speaking of search suggestions, definitely check out my Wix tutorial about search suggestions in the right hand corner as I speak right now. That is a great tutorial that I highly advise everybody to use. Very valuable when you want to create a search dropdown from a data source. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into this. Then it will actually show the box 42 and show the data that's within this repeater. Okay, so now that we have the input down, let's go ahead down to the repeater and see what items and information that we need to sort through. Okay, so essentially what we're seeing here is an on item ready here function or method that we're attaching to this repeater one, and then we're going into each of the text box here, which this is text 89, and we're assigning that to the continent's name, okay, or in this case the description. All right, so we're using item data to pull all the data out, and then we're going to grab the description like that. If there is no description, this OR factor here is going to default it back to nothing. All right, so it's going to show nothing, but hopefully we won't be able to use that. All right, and then what we're going to do is look at the item container, and we're going to set that to an on-click function. All right, this on-click function for this container here, container one, that is inside of your repeater, we're going to check to see if this condition statement inside of here is true and that is valid. Okay, so that is why I have the try statement here. It's going to try everything else in here, and if anything were to mess up, then we're going to catch that error and we're going to show the box 42, and then also we're going to show that error and at what item data here did we have that error. Okay, oh, and yes, let's go ahead and add the index too, so that we know exactly what index is there. Okay, all right, so what is happening inside of this on-click container? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hide this box here that contains our search items, and then we're going to reset our input. So we're going to be nullifying the value as well as resetting the validity indication if we were to have it on required or not. And then also we're going to be assigning an object. Okay, so we're going to be assigning this object that's up here. This is a JSON object, and we're going to be assigning it to the Google Maps .location. This is a getter. Okay, so this is also a getter. We can set it or we can get it. All right, so what we're doing here is we're getting the current location that is on this map here, and we're going to get that JSON object and we're going to change those parameters. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going into lock.latitude and we're going to change that to item data.latitude. All right, and then lock.longitude, we're going to change that to item.longitude. And then also for the description here, we're going to change that to the description, which is the continent's name. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set that back to itself with the new object. All right, and then in the repeater here, we're going to reset the repeater so that then when we search again for the continent, it will put fresh data back in. All right, and so that's how you have it. Now let's go ahead and get into this button here in this section here. All right, so basically I just came up with a game. All right, and I went out and did some research and found some random number generators that give us longitude and latitude. Okay, so let's go ahead and scroll down here and let's go ahead and check out this game. All right, so here I have a switch on change function, and in this method right here or function, what I'm doing here is I'm going to get the target dot checked. Okay, and I'm going to see if it is true or not. If it is true, which is here inside this bracket, we're going to change this to on. So we already set the string here of the default game status, and then we're going to create this as an on method or an off method. Off will be checked as false. All right, after we do that, we're going to go to button 2. All right, so button 2 is going to actually go through and get the location object. All right, we can either set this location object as this, or we can grab it from the map itself. Okay, so you guys can do it how you want, but I just wanted to give you two options here where you could just set up the JSON yourself here, or you can pull it from the map itself, the map element itself. So now let's go ahead and get into the get random in range. Okay, so for latitude, it is -90 to 90. And then also for longitude, it is -180 to 180. All right, so you guys got to keep that in mind. All right, that is what latitude and longitude is based off of on this map here. So what this is doing here is getting a random number between these two items here, and I'll actually show you this in a moment. And this 3 here is going to be what is called the fixed item. All right, so we're going to fix that item to just 3 decimals afterward, and I'll show you that in a few seconds. And then also with this new lat and new lon, we're going to get the new latitude and new longitude based on these random numbers here, and we're just going to randomize it again, okay, just so that we know this is fully proof randomization. And also we're going to put it to a radius of 1000. So what this random generator is doing is it's taking my lat and long here, that 1 point, and then it's looking 1,000 kilometers in that radius to bring back a different latitude and longitude. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to check that switch, okay, and if this switch is on, okay, which this should be on right now, then what it's going to be doing is it's going to be getting everything from that random generator, okay? So that means our game status is on. So this would be the game. You can just create a game here, and you could just click this randomize and see where it lands and where it falls, and you could just, you know, do a little game like that. I just thought that was pretty neat. But yeah, so also in this else statement, what we can do is pull from our actual continents approximate array, okay? So this array that is up here, we can actually pull from here and just randomly pick it. All right, so that is what I'm doing here. I'm doing math.floor, which gives you the lower end of that integer. And I'm doing math.random. Math.random actually looks through points 0 through 1, okay? So that means 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and yada, yada, yada. All the way up to 1, it's doing that random number, okay? And then we're going to times that by the continent's approximate length, okay? So we're going to see that this has 7 continents, so it's going to be math.random times 7, all right? And then we're going to get that floor of that integer, all right? So if it was 7.4, it would go back down to 7, and that would be our whole number. And that would be our random number that we pick from, all right? So if that random number is 7 in this case, we're going to pick the continent that is within the continent approximate array, all right? And so if we pick 7, we would get Oceania. And then what we will do is set the continent's latitude and longitude, and then also set the ID to the description here, okay? Now, we don't have to set it to the ID. We can also set it to just the description. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's change it to description. And as you can see, Wix is helping me out with knowing that that is description. All right. So now notice I actually have 2 maps here, all right? And what I love about JavaScript or with Wix code is that you can actually go ahead and set 2 elements to the same exact location object, all right? So with this location object that we have here with the latitude and longitude and the description, we can set that to both of them, and then they would be both updated in real time, and it will show the exact same points and locations. So if you were to have many maps on your website, you can actually make them synchronize together. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop down into the get random in range, okay? So this is something I found online, very simple, straight to the point. But basically it is get this number, which is from, and get a 2, and then get the fixed amount of decimal spaces, all right? So what we're gonna do is math.random 0 through 1, and we're going to times that by the 2, which should be more than the from, okay? And I could actually put that in here as a parameter check, but right now I just know that the from is going to be a positive number, and then the 2 is going to be a negative number, or vice versa, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and do 2 minus from, and then we're going to plus that against the from, all right? And then we're going to fix that to a 3rd decimal, and then we're going to times it by 1, and just like this comment says here, we're going to times it by 1 so that we can trick that to convert it to a number, okay? And then this will spit out that random number. All right. And then also I got this information from this reference here. So definitely check that out in my website where I'm going to put this code. But basically what this random number generator is doing is it's coming in here and is getting the center point. So we're getting that center point based off of this random number, okay? And then what we're going to do here is we're going to span that radius to be in meters right here. We're going to span that to 1,000 meters. All right, so this will be converting that radians to degrees. All right, so we're going to say 1,000 divided by this number right here, and then we would go through all of these math.randoms in order to export this information out to our longitude and latitude here. And as you can see here, we're getting into a little bit of math here where we're actually finding the cosine of t, which that is 2 times math.pi times v, okay? And v is going to be that random number, 0 through 1, okay? And then also for our w, we're going to do from the radius times the square root of u, okay? Which is going to be 0 through 1 again. All right, and with those two numbers here, we're going to put that information into our cosine and sine, okay? And then what this cosine is doing is grabbing that number, and then we're going to times that through w, and then we're going to export that out and do x divided by our math.cosine of y sub 0, okay? So our y of 0 is going to be our latitude, and our x of 0 is going to be our longitude, okay? So our latitude is going to be y plus y0, and then our longitude is going to be xp plus x0, okay? All right, so you guys, if you want to know a little bit more about math, definitely go ahead and check out Wolfram Alpha. I highly suggest that for you guys because that helps me as well as it helps you all, and it's been helping a lot of people for many of the years. So definitely go ahead and check that out. But right now, let's go ahead and get into previewing this bad boy, okay? Because I'm ready to play that game. So now let's go ahead and see if this thing works, okay? So let's go ahead and type in Africa. All right, as you can see here, we typed in A and it gave us these 3 options here. All right, so this is the top 3 from that sort or that filter, and we're actually getting that filter to get Africa, Asia, and America, North America. Now, if we put in an F, as you can see, it trickled it down to just Africa. Now, just to let you know that this is not case sensitive, if we were to do AF and capitalize, it would still give us Africa. Okay, and then also if we do AF here, it will still give us Africa. And if we click on Africa, we can actually go to Africa in our Google map. All right, and as you can see, this did not update. Okay, that is because we only have it for this map only. Now if we wanted to come down here to play this game, let's go ahead, and it's already turned on, but if we turn this off, that means it's going to be using our continents approximate array, okay? And we're going to go ahead and randomize that. All right, so we're going to be randomly picking a continent. All right, and as you can see here, we're randomly picking South America, and our information is coming up correctly. Then we're going to go ahead and see that that is Oceania. As you can see, it's updating it down at the bottom here. Let me go ahead and scroll down a little bit, and let's just keep randomizing. As you can see, is picking different ones here, so the game is off. But if we put the game on, that means this is totally randomized. All right, so that means we're going to go all across the map wherever we want to go. All right, so let's go ahead and check this thing out. Oh, we stayed in Antarctica. Now we're in the Pacific Ocean. All right, we're in the Indian Ocean, Pacific. Wow, this is a pretty cool game. So let's go ahead and turn that off, and let's go back. And as you can see, our game status actually updated based on our switcher. Okay, so now let's go ahead and end it here where we say Antarctica. And as you can see, our clicking is happening here, is resetting our input value here, and then it's updating our maps. All right, see, that wasn't too bad. Well, if you had a hard time following this tutorial, then definitely head over to my website for further explanation of the code. And definitely there's a link below to my website, so check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Definitely give it a shot. And if you have any questions, drop them below. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. And if you like this video, hit that like button. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more tutorials every weekend. Also, check out my website to find other tips and tricks about Wix. This helps us do what we do, and this channel is supported by viewers just like you. You can also click